Alex, welcome. D2C, to me, was interesting initially because they built these tools and processes for cutting marketing spend, for cutting outside platform spend, and sort of having this direct relationship with the customer. But now, through Shopify and others, there's so many tools out there for so many different types of companies to do that. I wonder how they differentiate now.
It's going to be really difficult. And despite all the spin they might have given us about being different or building these relationships with consumers, they still need those social media ads in order to reach people. I mean, Warby Parker went public just a few months ago, said 13% brand awareness. I mean, 87% of people don't know what Warby Parker is. So how are they going to have special marketing using, any sort of platform they want without using ad spend in order to reach people? And unfortunately for the D2C companies, ad spend is way up. Way up. I mean, you look at Facebook ad prices. I had one ad buyer tell me they used to be $6 to reach 1,000 people. Now it's tripled to around 18. I mean, it's really difficult to do business in that environment.
Yeah, and so that was a key part of the mechanism that they were using to acquire customers relatively cheaper. And then the idea was that they'd be able to retain them. Bricks and mortar was another piece of that. But I guess that perhaps gets more complicated in a higher interest rate environment. At least some players in tech seem to be stepping back from using that model somewhat. I mean, Amazon comes to mind, and at least shifting its brick and mortar ambitions.
Yeah, again, so Warby Parker had been talking to us for a long time about its brick and mortar strategy, but to have only 13% unaided brand awareness, even still, I mean, it doesn't help. And you have to really expand in a big way in order to do that. And look at the losses that these companies have. When you have a company like Warby Parker, and there was some stock compensation involved, but it lost $91 million in the third quarter of 2021. Then you look at Wayfair, for instance. Wayfair lost $78 million with contracting revenue. So, they might be telling us, all right, we want to do brick and mortar. It's going to be difficult for them to differentiate themselves anyway if they do that. And they're still stuck with, again, increasing ad spend, really difficult measurement on these social media platforms because Apple has cut off their ability to track off of the platform, off of Facebook. And then shipping costs is another really important thing to discuss, where they used to be able to import a container from China for $2,000. Now that costs $15,000, $20,000. So you have these skyrocketing costs. The revenue is, more difficult to come by. And it's really a pinch for them. That's why margins are contracting. And you're seeing the stocks take a hit, and it might not be over.
Alex, Shopify was supposed to be this sort of knight in shining armor for a lot of these D2C companies. And yes, certainly they have helped the industry sort of flourish and reach customers. What do you think the role is going forward? Especially you talk about increasing shipping costs, and now Shopify is moving further into the logistics space. Could that be sort of an upcoming bright spot for these companies?
Yeah, if Shopify is able to decrease the price of a container from $20,000 to $2,000 to bring it in from China for these companies, then, that's great. But I just don't think that Shopify has the capacity to do that. And you look at these companies, Shopify essentially is the skin for them to build a store. So they're able to build that store online. The number one question now is, how do you reach customers? And if you're doing it primarily via advertising, you could have the best Shopify experience of your life. You're still not going to be able to make a big difference using that platform or any other platform.
Yeah.